Hello there, my dear friends, and welcome to Process Video 226. Welcome again to my channel. I am Grace, and in this channel you will see me create scrapbook pages, cards, and sometimes some home decor project. So this layout features it showcases some of the items that I pulled for my homemade kit for the month of June. This is actually my third layout, so you will see kind of some scraps here that I am using. This is going to be a double page layout, but I only pulled two colors of two cardstock that has the same color for background piece, and so I needed to kind of find a way where I can use one cardstock piece and then a pattern paper. And so I'm going to use this circle one that has kind of I don't know, I look at it and I think about like a target because of all the circles here. So that's going to be my left side of my paper, but my idea to connect this to the brown solid cardstock that you see that's going to be to the right of the page is to create a frame around this piece that kind of has the same color. Now, I could have gone to my stash and looked for a cardstock piece or a pattern paper that actually has the same color as that cardstock, but I felt like this kind of craft pattern paper matches it slightly or pretty close, and I wanted to stick with the products that I had pulled out for this homemade kit. So that's what I'm using here. Again, if you don't feel like they're matching color wise, I would definitely encourage you to go look for a cardstock that has the same exact color, and you know that that will match very well. So for me, this is good enough. I am working with a few photos here. Let's see, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 13. I have 13 photos. 10 of those would be 3 by 4, and then I have this collage of photos that I was able to add 3 of them in a 4 by 6 canvas. So there's 3 of them instead of 2. And the reason why I did that was because the photos had my kids kind of spanning. It was showing I can't remember what, I think maybe it was an eagle, but it was a bird that had the wings spanned out. So you kind of could see if your arms were as long as the wings of that bird if it was spread out. And so I took a picture of the kids, and if I were to put them as 3 by 4, they were just not, it's not going to show the entire like span of their arms, or and the wings. And so I decided to make it smaller, and I was able to fit 3 of them in that space. So I'm not too worried that my backgrounds are not the same because of the design that I was going for this particular layout. As you can see, I am creating some blocks over to the left of the layout, and so most of that cardstock will be covered with pattern paper and photos anyways. But again, I needed a background. I needed a foundation piece for this layout, and so instead of using pattern paper, I wanted to do cardstock, but because I only had one of this piece from that I picked for the homemade kit, that I needed another, like a pattern paper on the one side. And then I also have, if you've seen my homemade kit kind of share video, I had pulled out some 3 by 4 pieces of paper. I don't know if they're Project Life cards, but they're just 3 by 4 cards cut apart. And so I'm using some of that as to fill in some of the pieces or parts of the collage that I don't have photos for. And the photos and the papers that I'm putting to the left of this layout is flushed all the way to the edge, but the top, bottom, and sorry, the right side of the collage will be flushed to the right side of the paper, but the left, the top and the bottom will have a little bit of that space so that it will match the brown edge space of the right layout. I hope that I'm explaining that correctly. And I'm trying to like slow down the way I'm talking so that I don't mumble, because I tend to do that as well. So now you see that there's a piece there that's about 4 by 6 on the top right of the space that I'm trying to find. I'm working with scraps now, so I'm trying to find one that's already been cut or closely cut to the piece, and then I'm going to trim that. I had to measure it because I knew that it wasn't a true 3-inch length, and then I'm going to adhere that to that space. Now initially I had wanted to add a 3x4 photo there, which would be a horizontal piece, and I don't know, for some reason I thought that I would end up adding that still, but I actually trimmed down the other two 3x4s that are in orientation size as well. And then I'm going to lay that in an orientation size over on the bottom of the other right page. So I'm going to add that there. But for some reason, I forgot that I added that one piece of photo there, because later on you will see me. I'm going to stop and I'm going to look for that piece because I was still thinking that I will add that to the top left of my layout. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere these 3 photos, just lining them up on the bottom, and I'm using my T-square ruler for that to make sure that they're aligned. And then I'm going to, another way that you can connect to 2 pieces of paper that's not the same, then doesn't have the same background, is to create and to add kind of the same patterns from the ones that you did for the left and ones that into the right. But before that, I am going to mat these 3 photos that I was telling you about, that I kind of made sure that I spanned the photos properly, and I'm matting that on a piece of pattern paper because again I wanted to use the items on in my stash, and also because I think the dark green kind of makes the photos pop up better than maybe like a brown, which I was auditioning a little earlier. And I wanted to kind of create a space in between the photos so you can see that there are actually 3 different photos, even though they were taken kind of in the same spot. And these are just phone photos, so they're not very good quality, but I still wanted to document this specific event. So let's talk a little bit about the pictures. This is just a hike that my kids and I did. This was in the spring break of 2018, and so we were all on a spring break, and I just had I think I was still in school at this point, and so still going to school, but I needed to get away, to get out, because, you know, when I'm in school and the kids have spring break, they really just spend all day kind of in their technology and stuff. So this was, I think this was the Friday of their spring break, and it was just, it was a good weather for us, and I needed to get out, and so I brought the kids with me, and we went out to one of our favorite easy hikes, and it is nature. It's part of a I'm not sure what it's called. It's like a nature it's a nature trail, but in the beginning of the trail there's a little kind of a nature museum, and so I took the kids there, and so we went on our little short hike, which was about a 2-mile hike. We pick a short, easy hike because of my youngest. You know, we wanted him to be able to do the walking too, so we couldn't go for very long. But then after that, we went into the museum part and, looked around with the displays, and then went home and had lunch. So I wanted to just document that. Now, again, like I was telling earlier, one way that you can connect the left and the right pages of your two-page spread is to add kind of the same papers that you're adding to the left to the right. So as you can see, I added that floral kind of burnt orange piece to the top of the left page, and so I created a border using that same pattern paper for the right page, and I needed some kind of a strip to go in between the photos and the pattern paper border. And so I have this really skinny black and white strip. So I wanted to add the black and white strips to the edge of that border, but I only had, because I was trying to use some scraps here, and so I only had this piece, and it doesn't go all the way across the strip. So I kind of debated, should I cut a new one so it will go all the way, but then I figured, you know what, I can just, initially I thought that I could add my journaling block there so it will be covered up, and so that's why I decided to use that piece here, even if it's not doesn't span the whole width of that border strip. And so while I am kind of mulling over and thinking about that, I am going to work on my title, and I had pulled out this thickers that has a bunch of pre-made titles, and so I'm going to put Life is Good here because I really think that well, I really love our new, I shouldn't say new, because we have been in Colorado for almost 10 years. So I just love our town. I love the the vibe that we have here. I love how close we are to the mountains, and it's getting big, I have to admit, but it's not as big as, say, the big cities like Denver. And so I just like living here, and even though we get snow, that's one thing that I do not like, is having to deal with shoveling snow and driving in the snow. I still like the weather and the again the vibe here. So going back to the layout now, like I said, I was kind of debating maybe I should put my journaling on that piece there, but then I decided to just put my journaling on the top because I felt like it will work better. I think my biggest hang up was the orientation of the way I printed it. It's left flushed, and so if I put it there, it would have been perfect. It was if it was right flushed. I don't know. It's those little details that I'm kind of sometimes annoyed at myself because I focus so much on the details of my layouts. But again, it is what it is, right? And this is our layout, so we could do whatever we want with it. So I'm taking the time here because I remembered that piece of photo that I had hoped to add, and I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. So I moved along and I decided, okay, because I can't find it, I'm just going to go ahead and add some other designs to those pattern papers that I used to fill in those empty spaces that I didn't have photos for. And I just happen to have this tree sticker from this willow from my mind's eye sticker sheet, and I don't even remember what it said, but it had some kind of nature quote in there, and so I figured I would add that because it is a nature type of layout, so I thought that it will match. And then again here I'm looking for other things to add, and I'm looking for the photos. Now I'm going to go back to finding something to add to the mustard yellow piece on the bottom, and I couldn't find any, and I got distracted of these word strips, and so I figured, okay, I'm just gonna put in these word strips here so that while I am trying to think of something else to put for that other pattern paper piece. And as you can see, there's some photos that I posed and did some jumping shots because, you know, it's fun to do jumping shots once in a while. And so I was doing that, and I was having my daughter take pictures of me here. And so now I wanted to fill in this 4x6 piece over here, and I'm just trying to add a few more pattern papers, and I wanted to add that leaf thickers here, and I'm just trying to, again, this is part where I'm kind of looking for things to add and just trying to figure out which one's the best. And then there's this circle piece that I thought would be a good thing to add, because there are a lot of like sharp edges, you know, with the rectangles that's going on my layout, that I needed some kind of circle to kind of break that apart. And plus, if you remember, our background piece to the right have circles, you know, because it looked like a target. And so I thought that that would be a good way to marry those two shapes together so that these two layouts will merge well with each other. So now I'm just kind of decorating here. I will add a few more details here and there, but that's basically the bulk of my layout. I hope that you guys like this video. If you do, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And also, if you like double page layouts, make sure that you check out my other double page videos in my channel. I do have a playlist for that. If I remember, I will try to add that in the description box below. If you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave it in the comment section below, and I will try to answer it as fast as I can. And that will be it. I hope that you guys have a lovely day. Thank you for stopping by, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.